So with your HPL programs, do you think you guys have like the 3 pillars or like 4 pillars of like what you try to provide in every program?
When I have a program idea that I'm looking at, I try to think in terms of, so what will the program do for people? You know, is it going to be educational? Is it going to be more entertainment based? A big part of it is figuring out what we wanted the program to accomplish. How is it going to benefit the community? Mm-hmm. And so I think as long as we can identify that sort of connection, that it's going to bring value to the community. You know, I think that's for me the primary thing I'm interested in.
Okay.
We had an author come in, Matt Jansen, who has a book called State of Craft Beer, where he quit his job and toured the state, taking pictures and getting information on all the breweries in the state, and he talked about that. So just a lot of, and we had a reception at Rock County Brewing afterwards, and they gave a tour of the brewery, and you got $2 off a flight of beer. So, you know, different programs that we have, you know, would be interesting to different people, but they're all pretty interesting.
These brewers are, yes, they're competitors in the sense that they share the same market sometimes with selling beer, but they help each other out. They want to share and make everyone else better, which is not something that you see in other industries.
The programming is different than what I think some people think of when it comes to library. Definitely not dry, lots of fun, and we're still educational and informative on a lot of them, but in a way that either meets a specific need or is just, like I said, fun and interesting.
Favorite program that you've been a part of while at HPL?
Favorite program that I have been involved in? Mm-hmm. Actually, the first program that I was directly involved in was a program that we had with Dr. Nino, who was a longtime pediatrician here in Janesville. He talked about his experience, his family's experience in a Japanese internment camp. It was just a very powerful program. He's such an interesting man. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's not something that you and I really have kind of direct personal experience with. So being able to hear what it was like for him as a kid, you know, to be in an internment camp during World War II was interesting, but to be able to have that personal connection with somebody that's doing it, that, you know, not to hear about it on TV or reading a book was very powerful. It really was just incredible to see how many people came to listen to him. Mm-hmm. You know, again, a lot of people had him as their pediatrician, and you know, or he was their kid's pediatrician. Mm-hmm. So just really a very moving program to be involved with, and to have it kind of, you know, just unfold that way was made it special for me.
The food, granted, the whole country was under rationing, but I do remember it was lousy. It was the first time I ever saw apple butter. Now, apple butter is not butter. They call it apple butter, but it was exactly like applesauce that had become red with some dye or whatever.
Probably would be Angels Carried Them Away. It was a program on Victorian funeral practices, and it was fabulous. It was so much fun. The fun started when the gentleman who did the presentation, who was a retired funeral director, rolled through 3 caskets through the library. Oh. And he had all this equipment. It was really fun. Yeah, and he was fun. It was a fun presentation, and it was great.
Notice, notice, notice. That family, all of them are wearing black. You notice all the friends that are coming in are wearing black. The main reason is they believe that death is standing at the foot end of that coffin, looking for someone else to take. And death can't see black.
And would you say, could you like list a few of like some of your major programs you do throughout the year?
So besides Peace Week, which usually is 5 to 6 programs in a week, and the main program is the International Day of Peace, then also Faces of the World, the International Fair, and then also I'll just start with the beginning of the year, and we have a Lunar New Year celebration that always has 400 to 500 people attend, and we partner with the school district to do that. Then we do Mardi Gras, and Mardi Gras is also a partnership with the school district to do that. And we do in April, at the end of April, Dia de los Niños. Then we also have a human library program, which is another one. I think mine are all my favorites because they're all just so amazing for bringing people together to help them understand each other. And then we also, over the summer, do different programs. The biggest one is Cuascan. And then also in the fall, Fiesta Latina, Dia de los Muertos.
Yep.
And then also Janesville's Jolly Jingle. And those are my big main programs that I do.
How has your work been influenced by them? And do you want to say any kind words about them?
Well, if I said kind words, that might be the first time. That might be too much of a shock to their systems. No. It's great working with both of them. Renee has so many connections in the community that one of the things that I've learned from her is just the importance of that. And Maureen, she's very passionate about what she does. As she, does outreach and programs for seniors, for older adults, she's very committed to that. She just continues to show a desire to give the highest quality service that she can to that group.
I am so lucky to have Phil and Maureen as my staff because they both are so good at listening to people and just communicating, sharing their ideas. We get along so well and our conversations are wonderful. I feel so lucky to have two people that I get to supervise.
The kind of timeline that you have to follow in order to do some of the programs that you do?
That's probably the hardest thing because for a lot of our presenters, our community-based presenters, they're thinking, oh, I'm doing a program, down the line, maybe 3 or 4 or 6 months later. But we have to have our stuff in so that the PR can all be done, the newsletters can be printed up and everything written up, posters made like 5 months before. And so that's probably the hardest part is helping people understand I need all this stuff, and to get ready for it, and then it's wait until the date of the program.
So fiction, nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
Casual or formal?
Casual.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite season?
Fall.
Apples or oranges?
Apples.
Sunset, sunrise?
Sunrise.
Casual, formal?
Formal.
Fiction, nonfiction?
Fiction.
Historical fiction or sci-fi?
Sci-fi.
Janesville has such a unique variety of things to do with the library, and it's unlike any other Rock County library. So do you want to kind of dive into that?
I will absolutely dive into that one. So this is going to sound like I'm patting myself on the back, and perhaps I am. But I do know that a lot of these programs that I've been talking about are not offered in other libraries, not just in Rock County, but in Wisconsin. More libraries are offering more diverse, out-of-the-box kind of programs, but that is what our strong point is here. The Lunar New Year celebration, one year I noticed that this Mexican woman that I knew I kind of knew her, had been bringing her son every year to the Lunar New Year celebration. I thought, well, that's very cool. You know, she wanted her son to learn, obviously, about different cultures. So I asked her, so do you live in Janesville? No, she lived in Watertown, an hour away, and brought her son to that program. And I asked her, why would you drive an hour to come to this program? And she said, because nobody else is doing anything like this.
And I know I see it in the schools everywhere. It's almost like the Chinese New Year celebration is going on all year long, because I've never taken my sign off the door, the upside down sign. Yeah, and everybody asks, like, when is Chinese New Year starting? When is the thing at the library happening? So we're really excited that this is happening at Hedberg. And I'm not sure how many years that Hedberg has been doing this, but I believe it's the only event in Rock County.
People now have an expectation that Hedberg Public Library will offer those kinds of programs. And if we stopped doing them, I think that's when we would get the pushback, is that we no longer were offering those diverse kind of programs instead of cookie cutter programs. And I think, again, part of that is I'm not afraid to try something new.
I think we do really well on what we have. Because we're a library, we don't have unlimited funds. In one way, that might be kind of tough because we have to think really carefully about how we spend our money. On the other hand, it's also a real positive thing, because would I have missed out meeting this person in my community had we hired somebody from the outside to come in to do this? And so, in one way, maybe we haven't gotten this top person. On the other hand, we've brought somebody in from our community who has a passion for our community. And that, I think, is a real positive thing.
Gardening is both local and maybe unique. But see, the thing is, I would have thought, I'm not a gardener. And I mentioned that you got to be careful about not using your personal interests as the sort of framework through which you make programming decisions, because I would have no desire to do gardening, to go to a gardening program or anything like this.
But that was a really well-attended program.
Absolutely. And so the Rock County Master Gardeners were who we connected with to do that. And we're looking to connect with them from some other gardening programs. And, ask them, what kind of topics they might be in. Seed starting. Okay, fine, And I was expecting, we'll get 3 or 4 people. This will be one of our really low, and then the room is packed.
Yeah. You had to get more chairs.
Yes, because I wasn't expecting the turnout.
You were not expecting.
And they did such a fantastic job. They had seed starting kits for people. And, they were just a wealth of information on, where people could get seeds.
Okay, so you've got your container and you've got your seed starting media. Now you want to plant your seed. This is where you need to go back to your seed packet or your catalog to see how deep you want to plant your seed. The depth is generally determined by the size of the seed. However, some seeds require either darkness or light for best germination. The general rule of thumb is that you take the width of the seed, which I know is hard for some when they're flat, and multiply it by 4, and that's how deep you should plant it.
If money was no object, what would you do for a program?
Money were no object. we'd probably have giant life-size robots battle to the death. If we had more money and were able to have more staff, and I know that's, you know, a dream world, but I think it would be cool to be able to go out and start, you know, more community initiatives. Like right now we're launching an early literacy parent training initiative.
I would love to have an Elvis impersonator and someone who collects Elvis memorabilia to talk about that.
What would you want to tell the viewer about Hedberg Library Programs?
We probably offer more programs that they would be interested in than they probably realize. So it'd be worth, you know, regularly checking. You know, people might have the sense of, oh, libraries, you know, they're boring, so their programs are going to be boring. It'll just be a lot of facts and information that I can't use. But that's really not the case. You know,
Misconceptions that you want to debunk for people that kind of look at the senior citizen population in Janesville?
Yeah, I think I'd like to start with the seniors themselves, because there's this thing in the bigger world that somehow when you get older, that's not good. You know, so seniors don't want to appear old. These things are not just for the old. They're for people who want more information, and it's free. They're all free. Why not come? Why not join us?
Unless Maureen says it better,
I think
which
the odds are
she
pretty good that she will.
might.
Avoid areas with netted giraffe traps.
Turtle or tortoise?
Turtle.
Favorite season?
Fall.
Favorite book as of right now? It looks like a little
It's
boat hat.
yeah. So it's a book in the shape of a boat hat.